Imagine living in one of the wealthiest states in America, Washington, a place of cutting-edge technology and breathtaking natural beauty. But here, yet thousands of people call the streets their home. Washington State is facing a hidden crisis that's growing faster than ever, with homelessness surging to its highest levels in over a decade. What's really happening behind the rising numbers? Why is this crisis spiraling out of control? And what does life look like for those left without shelter? In today's video, Unknown Travel will take you inside the overlooked corners of Washington, revealing untold stories, harsh realities, and the deeper reasons behind one of America's most urgent social issues. Stay with us, because what you're about to see goes far beyond the headlines.
You're not protecting people!
Please move back. Please move back.
Washington State, home to billion-dollar tech giants, luxury high-rises, and breathtaking landscapes. But beneath this image of wealth and innovation lies a stark contrast to thousands of people struggling to survive on the streets every night. Homelessness in Washington State has become one of the most pressing issues affecting communities across the region. The rise in homelessness is not just a statistic, but a growing social and economic problem with profound implications for both individuals and communities. As of February 18, 2025, recent data highlights the severity of the issue, showing that homelessness in Washington has increased by 27% between 2019 and 2023. With 163,000 people now experiencing homelessness in the state, these numbers underscore the urgency for systemic change and a deeper understanding of the factors driving this crisis. In this article, we'll take a close look at the latest trends, the demographics of homelessness, local efforts to combat it, and the role of homelessness encampment bans in Washington. Perhaps one of the most concerning trends is the growth in unsheltered homelessness. The percentage of homeless individuals living without shelter has climbed to 57.2% as of 2023, marking a 10% increase since 2020. These individuals are forced to endure life on the streets, in cars, or in temporary, unregulated spaces. Living unsheltered presents a range of difficulties, from exposure to the elements to increased risk of health issues and violence. The stark rise in unsheltered homelessness demands immediate attention from policymakers and the public alike, as it represents a dramatic shift in the landscape of homelessness in Washington. Regional focus: King County and Seattle. While homelessness is a statewide issue, its impact is particularly severe in urban areas such as Seattle and King County. King County, which encompasses Seattle and its surrounding communities, is home to an estimated 71,385 homeless individuals as of 2023. Of these, nearly 60%, approximately 42,000 people, are unsheltered. This level of homelessness in King County is staggering and illustrates the systemic issues plaguing the area. Seattle alone has 62,000 people experiencing homelessness, many of whom are part of marginalized groups, including migrant communities and racial minorities. The population of homeless individuals in Seattle is compounded by a growing number of economic migrants, both from within the state and beyond, who come to the city in search of better opportunities. While many are drawn to Seattle's thriving tech industry, they often find themselves unable to secure affordable housing, exacerbating the crisis. Seattle has become a focal point for the state's homelessness problem, where the lack of affordable housing, the rising cost of living, and insufficient mental health services have created a perfect storm for increased homelessness. One of the most concerning aspects of homelessness in Washington is the rise in chronic homelessness. Chronic homelessness refers to individuals who have been homeless for a long duration, typically over a year, and often face compounding challenges such as mental health issues, substance abuse, and physical disabilities. According to the latest data, 19% of Washington's homeless population is chronically homeless, a figure that has increased from 10,158 individuals in 2018 to over 30,376 in 2023. Chronic homelessness poses significant challenges for both the individuals affected and the services meant to help them. People experiencing chronic homelessness often require more intensive support, including long-term housing solutions, mental health services, and addiction treatment programs. Without these services, individuals are likely to remain trapped in homelessness, perpetuating the cycle. Youth homelessness, vulnerable young people at risk. Another demographic that has been disproportionately affected by homelessness is youth. In Washington state, nearly 31,000 unaccompanied youth between the ages of 12 and 24 experience homelessness each year. These young people are especially vulnerable, as they may lack the familial or social support networks that are available to older individuals. Many young people facing homelessness are escaping abusive households, struggling with mental health challenges, or navigating the difficulties of transitioning out of foster care. Without access to education, stable housing, and mental health services, these youth are at a higher risk of long-term homelessness, unemployment, and involvement in the criminal justice system. Addressing youth homelessness requires targeted programs that provide not just temporary shelter, but also the resources needed for a stable future, including job training, educational support, and counseling services. Undocumented immigrants and their struggles with homelessness. Undocumented immigrants represent another significant portion of Washington's homeless population, particularly in Seattle. With an estimated 750,000 undocumented individuals living in Washington as of 2021, many face severe barriers to stable housing due to their legal status. These individuals often work in low-wage jobs, face language barriers, and lack access to social services, leaving them vulnerable to homelessness. Asylum seekers and refugee families also face challenges in finding housing. Often, federal support for refugees ends after a few months, leaving many with no options but to rely on already stretched affordable housing resources. The lack of work permits for asylum seekers further complicates the issue, as they may not be able to secure steady income or legally rented housing. Racial disparities are stark when examining the demographics of homelessness in Washington. Although white individuals make up the majority of the homeless population, Black and Native American individuals are disproportionately represented. Black residents, who comprise approximately 4.5% of Washington's total population, account for nearly 17.7% of the homeless population. Native American individuals, who make up only 2% of the population, represent more than 7% of the homeless population. These disparities highlight the deep racial inequities that exist within the state. Structural racism, discriminatory housing policies, and limited access to resources have contributed to the overrepresentation of Black and Native American individuals in the homeless population. These groups face higher rates of poverty, eviction, and unemployment, making them more susceptible to homelessness. Addressing these disparities requires targeted interventions that consider the historical and systemic factors that have contributed to the overrepresentation of minority groups in the homeless population. Washington State has allocated significant resources to combat homelessness. In the 2023 to 2024 state budget, a total of $4.3 billion was earmarked for housing and homelessness programs. This funding aims to address both immediate needs, such as emergency shelter, and long-term solutions like affordable housing development. Between 2019 and 2024, Washington invested a cumulative total of $19 billion in homelessness programs, underscoring the seriousness with which the state is addressing the issue. These funds are distributed across a range of programs, including emergency shelters, transitional housing, and permanent supportive housing. The focus is on providing both immediate relief and sustainable solutions that allow individuals to exit homelessness for good. However, despite these investments, the state continues to face challenges in meeting the growing demand for services. Local governments, nonprofits, and federal agencies also play an essential role in addressing homelessness in Washington. Cities like Seattle and Tacoma have implemented programs designed to assist homeless individuals, including emergency shelters, outreach programs, and Housing First initiatives that prioritize providing stable housing before addressing other issues like substance abuse or mental health. However, the shortage of affordable housing and the high demand for shelter services often means that many individuals remain without the support they need. Nonprofit organizations such as the Seattle King County Coalition on Homelessness have been pivotal in providing direct services to homeless individuals. These organizations often work alongside local governments and federal agencies to coordinate resources and offer a range of services, from job training to addiction recovery programs. City-specific homelessness data. Each city in Washington faces its own unique challenges related to homelessness. For example, Kent. The strain of increasing housing instability. Kent, located south of Seattle, has seen a 5% increase in its homeless population over recent years. In 2023, more than 19,000 people were reported as experiencing homelessness in the city, many of them struggling to survive in public spaces. More than 7,750 of these individuals are unsheltered, facing the hardships of life on the streets, in parks, or in cars. The city's rapid growth, along with a lack of affordable housing, has created an environment where more people are falling through the cracks. Kent's homelessness crisis is marked by a growing disparity between income levels and the cost of housing. The cost of rent has increased significantly in recent years, and while Kent is still more affordable than Seattle, the rising costs of living are still outpacing wage growth for low-income residents. As a result, many residents find themselves facing eviction or living in precarious situations, with some forced into homelessness. The homeless population in Kent is diverse, with a significant portion of individuals struggling with mental health issues, addiction, and a lack of job opportunities. Local shelters are operating at full capacity, and with few affordable housing options, the homeless population continues to grow. Kent has made strides in addressing homelessness through partnerships with local nonprofits and the city's efforts to provide emergency shelters. However, the demand for services far exceeds what is available, and the city must invest in long-term solutions to reduce homelessness and prevent future displacement. Tacoma. A rising homelessness crisis with families in need. Tacoma, located south of Seattle in Pierce County, is another city grappling with a sharp rise in homelessness. With over 20,000 homeless individuals as of 2023, Tacoma has seen a 30% increase in homelessness since 2017. The city has also witnessed a significant rise in the number of homeless families, highlighting a troubling trend that has put a strain on the city's shelter system and support services. Many of Tacoma's homeless individuals are families with children, a group that faces unique challenges compared to single adults. Families experiencing homelessness often struggle to find appropriate shelter that can accommodate their needs, including space for children and access to schooling. These families are often forced to stay in overcrowded shelters or temporary housing, further exacerbating the stress and instability they face. The homelessness crisis in Tacoma is compounded by the rising cost of housing and a lack of affordable options. While the city has a more affordable housing market compared to Seattle, the gap between income levels and housing prices has been steadily growing. As housing prices rise, low-income families are pushed out of their homes, sometimes into homelessness. The increase in migrant families also adds to the pressure, with many arriving in the city seeking safety and better opportunities, but finding themselves unable to secure stable housing. Tacoma has responded with several initiatives, including the creation of more emergency shelters, affordable housing developments, and expanded mental health services. Despite these efforts, the homeless population continues to grow, and local leaders are calling for more funding and creative solutions to address the root causes of homelessness in the region. Spokane, struggling with rising homelessness and limited resources. Spokane, located in eastern Washington, has seen its own surge in homelessness. In 2023, the city reported 21,390 homeless individuals, marking a 16% increase from the previous year. Like many other cities, Spokane has a significant number of unsheltered individuals living in cars, tents, or other makeshift shelters who lack access to stable housing and basic necessities. Spokane's homelessness crisis is driven by a combination of factors, including the high cost of housing, rising poverty rates, and the lack of affordable rental units. As the cost of living increases, many residents who were once able to afford housing find themselves at risk of eviction or displacement. The city's affordable housing stock has not kept up with demand, and those who cannot afford higher rents are often left with no choice but to live on the streets. The city has limited resources to deal with the growing homeless population. Shelters are overcrowded, and while local nonprofits and the city have worked together to provide temporary solutions, there is a significant shortage of affordable housing units. Spokane has implemented several outreach programs and temporary shelters, but the lack of long-term solutions has led to a cycle of homelessness that is difficult to break. Spokane's homelessness crisis also affects the region's ability to attract and retain workers, particularly in industries that rely on low-wage labor. The city is currently exploring new ways to address homelessness through partnerships with the state and nonprofit organizations, but the road ahead remains challenging. Seattle, the epicenter of Washington's homelessness crisis. Seattle continues to be the epicenter of the homelessness crisis in Washington state, with 62,000 homeless individuals as of 2023. The city's significant homeless population is a direct result of a range of factors, including the high cost of living, limited affordable housing, and a growing number of economic migrants. Seattle has seen a dramatic rise in its homeless population, placing immense pressure on local resources and shelters. Seattle's homelessness crisis is particularly acute due to its reputation as a tech hub and its economic prosperity, which has created a stark contrast between the city's booming economy and the rising number of people living on the streets. Housing affordability is a major issue, with skyrocketing rent prices making it nearly impossible for low-income residents to keep up. This has pushed many into homelessness, particularly those already vulnerable due to mental health issues, addiction, and unemployment. The homeless population in Seattle is diverse, with a significant number of individuals from minority communities and immigrant backgrounds. The city has faced particular challenges with unsheltered homelessness, as individuals are often forced to sleep in public parks, under bridges, or in temporary shelters that are overcrowded and under-resourced. Seattle has implemented numerous initiatives to address homelessness, including the creation of supportive housing, enhanced emergency shelters, and expanded outreach programs. Despite these efforts, the city continues to struggle with a growing homeless population, and local officials are calling for more coordinated solutions across different levels of government. The impact of migrant influx on homelessness. The increasing number of immigrants and refugees in Washington has contributed to the rising homelessness figures. These populations face significant challenges in securing housing, primarily due to limited resources and their legal status. Many immigrants work in low-wage industries and struggle to access affordable housing, often finding themselves at risk of homelessness. Additionally, the lack of long-term support for refugees and asylum seekers, particularly once federal aid expires, further complicates the situation. As the number of new arrivals continues to rise, the pressure on Washington's housing market intensifies, with many displaced individuals ending up on the streets. Thank you for watching today's video on Unknown Travel. We hope this deep dive into the homelessness crisis in Washington has provided you with valuable insights into the challenges facing these communities and the urgent need for long-term solutions. Your engagement with these important topics helps raise awareness and fosters meaningful discussions that can drive change. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Unknown Travel. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with our future videos, where we continue to explore the pressing issues shaping our world and share powerful stories from across the globe. Your support is crucial in helping us bring more content like this to light. Thanks again for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.